All right, so here we go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our September company-wide meeting. Thank you for all of you who are attending. We've got a great group. As you probably saw a little bit earlier, I sent out a reminder that this was a Google Meet, not a Zoom. We have officially moved away from Zoom as a company and in favor of Google Meet. So because we hit a limit last time we had a company meeting, we hit 100 people and then nobody else could get on the call. So we have a better solution now. So I'm excited about that. So I appreciate everyone's patience as we get all the moving pieces together. But we're gonna move right in. There's not a huge pile of stuff to talk about, so we'll just crank right through it and then talk about some stuff that you guys have on your minds and move on with our day. So I'll go over the agenda very quickly. So Teresa's going to start us off with a list of all the folks that have joined the company since our last company meeting. It's quite a big list, actually. Steve and I will give a quick update on some of our initiatives. We're going to hear from property management. We're going to hear from success. We'll hear from the lovely Andrea Ross about some of the marketing things we're working on. And then we'll talk a little bit about the road ahead. So, the market's changing. I'm sure you've probably noticed. So we want to hear kind of where we as a company think it's going, where you guys are feeling it's going. And, Steve and I always want to make sure that we're listening to what your needs are, because that's how we decide on what initiatives we push forward, what resources we allocate, all that good stuff. And then if you've got any new designations or certifications to acknowledge, we want to hear about that. And then we'll just sort of have comments, questions, and concerns. So let's just dive right in to Teresa.
Well, wow, look at that list, Steve.
That's pretty good. You have been working.
I have been working. I just didn't get married, so well, good morning, everyone. If you see how big this list is, and I know a lot of you, but ones I don't know. I'm in charge of hiring for our company. I work closely with the managers, obviously, Steve and Steven. And I'll say I love my job because marketing this company is, I wouldn't say easy to me, but sort of. When I call agents and I call employees, they're really seeing the stability, even though the market's changing. They see the stability with Coldwell Banker Premier. So with that said, I am glad to welcome this big list. First of all, we're going to welcome Mark Timmons. He's going to be in Shepherdstown. Kathy Counts is in Lewis. Jessica Walensky, Virginia Beach. Dawn Marie Hooser is in Winchester. Lasagna Sneed, Rehoboth Beach. Julia Leap, she just signed like 2 days ago. She's in Harrisonburg. And actually, she's from Cincinnati. So thank you, Julia. Alicia Hall, Success Mortgage. Emily Vando, Rehoboth Beach. Zach Byrne, he's in Harrisonburg. And Laura Jones. Laura, I know we talked a lot over the phone, and this is the first time I've seen you in person. So nice to meet you in person.
I know, same.
Yes. Daniel Street, she's in Front Royal. Matthew Atkinson, he's in Milford. And we have Teresa Queen, Rehoboth Beach. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the family. And we're super excited to get your business going. We take it very seriously. And thank you. We're glad you're here.
Welcome aboard, everyone. It's great to see us attracting some excellent talent. So,
yeah, we had a busy Friday. We actually signed 4 agents on Friday, so we're growing, and it's nice to kind of be the place that people think of when they want to make a change. So,
yeah, Joanne mentioned down here. Wait a minute, let's not forget that Vicki Homer went over to.
Oh yeah, so Vicki Horner is transitioning from the Rehoboth receptionist position to an agent in Milford. So yes, that is a change as well.
Great.
Congratulations, Vicki. Awesome. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat that I missed. Okay, no, we're good. All right. Moving forward. All right, company initiatives. So if you have not seen the emails and such going out, I will remind you all again, deferred compensation is finally launching. It has been a nightmare to put together. And then we still have some back-end stuff that Steve and I have to do, but it is ready to rock and roll as far as open enrollment. So we've talked about this a little bit, so I won't belabor it, but it's another level of retirement planning and really just financial planning. It's not just retirement planning, but it's got some very attractive features for you guys, but it's very specific. It has to be very targeted and very well thought out. So the financial guru people are actually going to lay it all out for us, because we are certainly not qualified to explain how it works. But that's going to be on the 15th at that's at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Think about this like a 401k on steroids.
Yes.
That's kind of the elementary version of talking about that. So, guys, now you have the 401k, which is truly available to you as an independent contractor or as one of our staff. And now the deferred compensation, which will be a very amplified version of that some of you will find very, very attractive, I think.
Yes.
And then we added some benefits other than that, Stephen. Maybe you want to recap if you will.
Yeah, we did. So open enrollment has ended, but that does not mean that you cannot still get these. There's just certain things that are not available outside of open enrollment. But for the new people, you get an open enrollment period when you join the company. But we added life insurance, both term and whole. The whole life has a guarantee issue portion if you're within the open enrollment period. So that means no medical questions, things like that. That was a really big win for us. And then we have accident insurance. We have a cancer policy. We have we call it medical gap, but it's kind of a covers your deductible type thing if anything major happens. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Accident, life.
You basically have short-term liability.
Thank you. Short-term disability, yes. So we also have short-term disability. Those are all available to everyone, staff and agents. So it's a huge, huge package of products for us. Open enrollment for health insurance is going to be coming up, I believe, in the month of October. Sherry can correct me if I'm wrong on that if she's on.
You're correct.
Yeah, so we are shopping the new rates for the new year and all that good stuff. Hopefully our increased size will give us a little more negotiating power. But that is going to be the health, dental, and vision insurance. So open enrollment means anybody can jump into the program and they are not dependent on one another. So when that happens, if you just wanted vision insurance or just wanted dental, you can get those independent of whether or not you have the health insurance. So we'll gather all that information and get the new pricing out to everybody for that open enrollment period in October. So that was nice to finally get those additional benefits launched. Deferred comp is kind of the last piece of the puzzle for this year of the big initiatives that we were trying to do to round out the health and wealth programs. I'm sure we'll have more cool stuff next year, but that kind of finishes us off for the year on that. So we're
very glad that it's coming to the end on that, because this has been an absolute monumental feat to try to get this for you guys. I'll be really honest.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. So happy to be able to offer those, and we're thrilled for all the people that jumped on and took advantage of those programs. Gen Blue is coming up at the end of October. I hope some of you are planning on going. I know a few of you are already booked and ready to rock and roll. If you've not been to a Gen Blue, it's an amazing experience. I do hear occasionally about, it's expensive. It's an investment. It's not an expense. I've said this every time we talk about Gen Blue, but if you leave Gen Blue and you don't have enough referral business that you've made there to pay for it, then you did something wrong. You weren't talking to enough people, or you didn't bring enough business cards with you, because you're in front of thousands of Coldwell Banker agents from all over the world who want nothing more than to give a referral to another Coldwell Banker agent. And it's an amazing opportunity to learn, to network, to enrich your own business. They have amazing speakers, really good content. They throw a great party. So I would highly recommend you giving it a second thought if you've kind of been on the fence about it. It's really a cool event. So highly recommend it. You may have noticed the social media calendar has changed slightly. So Gnome has kind of made some changes, and we're going to be picking up more of the slack as a company now that our marketing team's a little more beefed up, and they're kind of transitioning over to a different style. But the calendars are no longer a real calendar. It is a library. So it's much more content, but it's not laid out in a calendar structure where it's like, this is what you post on the first day. It's just, I think the last one they sent out was like, I don't know, over 100. And it was actually 2 months worth of content. So I think it was like 100 or 150 different posts. Still copy and paste, but it's just not laid out in an individual calendar anymore. It is a spreadsheet that is online that you just literally click a link. So I recommend you actually have the link saved on my bar. So anytime I want it, I can just click on it. But it's just a small change that they've made, but I just want to make everybody aware of that one. And there's going to be probably some more changes in the future. They're kind of shifting around some things. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up to the forefront. Now, I have gotten really good feedback on the most recent change. So I think that actually may have come from me. I can't remember if I sent it or they sent it, but I got several comments back about, wow, this is really cool. I think it's a lot more user-friendly to just have it as a quick spreadsheet and just copy and paste. You can't mess it up. You can't edit it. So you can't change anything on there. So literally just grab what you want, throw it into social media. And I think I'm the one that actually recorded the how-to video on it too. So it's pretty simple. So if you have questions about that, just reach out to myself or anybody in marketing, and we can walk you through how to do that. So we have engaged a marketing agency. You may have been seeing some increased activity on maybe Google, on Facebook, things like that. We are really ramping up our marketing efforts from a branding perspective. So I'm not going to get into the weeds on it, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention to let you know that we are focusing on getting the word out there and getting the activity moving for the company. And we're seeing some good results. We're also looking at some ways to increase our Google My Business presence, online reviews, things like that. So we've got some really cool initiatives that will be coming out over the next month or so that I think you guys will really like. But that is all designed to make it so that, if someone's out there looking on the internet, we're one of the ones that pop up. That's always been a struggle because it's as a real estate company, it's hard to fight against Realtor and Zillow and Truly and all these other Redfin, all these other huge companies, because they're probably spending more than we make in a year on SEO and Google AdWords. So it's really hard to compete. But by getting hyper local, we're able to gain a little bit more traction. So we're excited about that. So Paula's question is, can the agents individually engage the marketing company? I don't think they work that way. We can always look at having them help make us templates for things. And we've increased our marketing team as well. So Zach has joined the marketing team. So now we have more people and we're able to do more of those customized things. That's actually one of the programs we're trying to kind of form together as like a listing coordinator type situation to help create more listing content, things like that. So this marketing company specifically, I don't know if that's probably the best use.
They'll have our marketing group and they'll have access to listing concierge or, oh my goodness, Stephen, design concierge.
Design concierge, yeah. So yeah, if you guys have ideas on what you would like to see, we would love to hear that, because if it's something that we can create for everyone, And we can work with the marketing company if we need to, or we can hire an outside designer or something to go make us a template that people can just, put their photo in and it's done. So we are working on creating those opportunities for that personalized content.
Yeah, and there are other solutions too, Paula. If you're interested, we can have a conversation about specifically what you would like, and anybody. We're going to have some trainings and things like that. So we'll have some other solutions that aren't quite ready for prime time, but we're really close. So yeah, we've got some exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons, twofold reason that we had Zach join the team. We needed someone in Harrisonburg, but we also needed a little more oomph on the marketing side. And so that gives us a little bit more bandwidth to be able to do some more custom stuff. So, and that's why we also went to this marketing company to help us on the company level, because we just were running out of horsepower to push all these things out. So trying to spread the workload out a little bit more. Making a slight change to Tech Tuesdays. So there's going to be more of them. Before, Tech Tuesday was only twice a month, I think. Now it's going to be 3 times a month through the end of the year. And then on the Tuesdays where we have meetings, so like today, Matt is going to be doing a mortgage training in the afternoon. So at 1 o'clock today, Matt will be doing a training on mortgages. So it's not going to be the same training every time, but just kind of keeping you guys informed on what's happening in the mortgage world, arming you with things that are going to help you and your clients navigate through some of these new programs, some of these new terms you're hearing that, like, they may not be new to all of us, but they may be, unfamiliar because we haven't heard them in 10 years. So, but Tech Tuesdays are going to be a little mixed up a little bit more than they were. So like Andrea is stepping in and she'll be doing one a month on a specific technology product. And then Mike and Michael are going to be taking some Tom Ferry content and helping kind of say, here's I can't remember what they call them. Mike, if you're on here, you can jump in on this. But there's like these worksheets or something that he created, and then they're going to kind of walk you through those and then show you a piece of technology or a tool or service that we offer as a company that can help you accomplish that. So Mike, you want to elaborate?
Yeah, they're called playbooks, and they're case studies from different places around the country that people have wanted to take an open house and just see how highly they can convert doing a lot of them. There have been people that have said, okay, I want to focus on non-owner occupied. This is what I did. This is the cadence that I did it at. Here's the results that I got. And so we'll be going over some of those. And like Steven said, trying to apply a tool that we have to see if it can help make that easier for you to accomplish if you want to put that in place yourself.
So very much, we're kind of marrying the old business development with technology. So I don't want it to just be business development. I don't want it to just be technology. I want it both. Like, you want to build your business, we have tools that can help you do that, however you want to accomplish that. So that is going to be the focus of Tech Tuesdays through the rest of the year. And then we'll kind of see how it goes starting 23. So I'm excited about that change. I think that's going to be a good way to finish out the year. So any questions about any of these updates before I move on? Ready? So let's hear from property management. So first, let's go to Virginia and hear from Ashley, because I hear there's some new changes to, what was it, Steve, like escrow law or?
It's go ahead.
Go ahead, Ashley.
The carbon monoxide, anybody that has a voucher program or is getting rent assistance through a voucher program, there has to be a carbon monoxide detector in the home beginning December 27th. So that's something that's
federal law, not a state law, just FYI.
Does it have to be hardwired, or can it just be a battery installed on the wall or whatever?
It can be either. Am I right in that, Ashley?
Yes, that's the way I understood it. It was either, as long as it was present.
So don't think just property management here, boys and girls. Think about, you've leased a property, you're selling something to an investor that has to have a property, they're going to turn it into a rental. They have to comply to this, right? Most of the newer properties have it, but some of the older ones don't.
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure that you've got both smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide detector for everything. December 27th, I think, is the key trigger. Is that right, Ashley?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, so now back, you can do your updates now. Sorry, I just want
Oh,
to like
um,
that from a legal
I mean,
point.
just a little small one. I mean, we signed 31 units in Winchester. So we're doing that. And she is also looking to buy another large building as well. So hopefully by December, she said that we'll be all done and we'll get that one as well. So, and then just heard back from one of my other owner investors that I've been working with, trying to get him to cross over. So that's looking like it might happen maybe November, and that'll be another 14. So yeah, we're just trucking along. Anybody, I appreciate Mercedes, Wendy, and Sharon all for sending out the referrals for their clients, and looking forward to helping them as well with their property management stuff. So.
And I think Faith has a referral too.
Oh, yes. And yes. And I appreciate that. And we're going to be working through all that. And I look forward to working with her and actually meeting her for once.
So how many doors are you guys managing right now in your area, Ashley?
Gosh. It's like around 225, I think, something like that.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Stephen, you got a big accolades here for the rental departments, just from what, last week, 2 weeks ago, right?
Well, I've tried to tee them up on a couple of things, but nothing yet. But yeah, I happen to have an
Didn't we get a
inside track on
national award?
HOA.
Didn't we get a national award for them here just recently?
Oh, that yes. So I'm like, well, I haven't done anything yet. So yes, our cumulative rental department, so with Delaware and Quad State together, won a Real Trends Rental Spree award. We ranked number 6th in the country for tenants placed and number 9th in the country for leases listed. So that was an incredible feat for us. So way to go to everyone who works very, very hard in property management. That's short-term, long-term, seasonal, all the things together. So that was really exciting. And that's the 3rd time this year that our company has been in Real Trends. So that's, we're pretty excited about that. That's pretty awesome. So yes, thank you, Ashley. Kathy, are you on the call?
I am.
Tell us something good from Delaware.
So Delaware, there's a couple good things going on in Delaware. First of all, there seems to be some changes in our local market. So Vacasa has come into play and pretty much is announcing that they have a 20% commission structure. And for the landlords in our area that have been paying 12 or a maximum of 15 for decades, that's not sitting too well. So that's opening doors for us that we typically have not seen. Also, the local Berkshire Hathaway company that's been local for decades was sold to a larger regional company, and that regional company has not really had much experience doing rentals. So that's opening some doors for us. And then thirdly, there's a local building that's called the Henlopen that's on the oceanfront, right on the boardwalk. It has 160 units. It's had a long-term relationship with Long and Foster, and something of what they said was a political nature caused a disruption in that relationship, and they sent that project out to bid. I don't know that anyone's going to be the successful bidder to handle the whole entire building, but certainly those individual unit owners can list wherever they wish. They don't have to wish with the building. So that too is opening some doors. And if you take all of those things and combine them with the fact that Steve and Steven have been pretty aggressive with Andrea's help in sending out a new postcard campaign to the local landlords, our Delaware property management team in general is definitely growing in inventory. So if there's any one of the 95 of you that would like to live a mile from the beach and have low property taxes, come on over. We would love to talk to you about being a vacation rental specialist. All kidding aside, if anyone would be interested in talking to Carla or Bruce or I about making a change and doing some rentals and relocating to Delaware, we would seriously love to have that conversation because the business is growing.
Awesome, Kathy. Awesome job.
And I can attest they have really good food over here too. So just saying.
You know, I really think Rehoboth is such a beautiful place. I may have to consider maybe doing some rentals or something. See?
Holly's just put me on the couch. Somehow they're going to make this work. I don't know. So great job, Kathy.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, let's hear from Success, either Robin or Matt. You guys have a cool update for us?
Yeah, so I'm going to do the easy one. I'm sure all of you have seen that the Fannie Freddie loan limits or the conforming loan limits have increased. So the numbers that you're seeing right now are just temporary. They're not actually the loan limit that is going to come out, but it's actually under. They're being conservative about rolling out the new loan limits until the actual ones come out around Thanksgiving. So we'll see what they're actually going to be for 2023, but they will be higher than what is being announced by everybody. But most lenders are accepting the new loan limits right now. So one unit is now 715,000, and 2 units is 916, 3 units is 1.107, and 4 units is 1.376. Now, in some, I think it's Hawaii and Arkansas, maybe, the conforming loan limit's actually over $1 million, but we're not in those areas, so whatever. We don't care about them. So, but yeah, anyway, 715, and they are being honored now. So as long as the loan is not locked, then we can actually lock it as a conforming loan. So what does that mean? Anything that was over 647, I think the old loan limit was considered high balance. That means higher interest rates and more conditions. Now that 647 is considered conforming, now you get regular conforming rates and less conditions on the file. So anytime you get into high balance or jumbo, you always have more conditions. You always have higher rates. In this instance, people now who fall into the 715 will get the same pricing and the same conditions as the conforming loan limit. So they are being honored now, which is a really cool thing. So that's all I have.
So actually, just to add to that, Robin, it's also a great thing for you guys to think about in the respects of your sellers and when you're on a listing presentation, because again, if this is knowledge you guys have when you're going on your listing presentation, it makes you sound like an expert. Because you're going in there and somebody might say, oh, well, hey, let's not price this above a certain point because we're going to get less buyers. So let's keep it below that. And you go, well, actually, the limit just got increased to 715. So now we can actually, all those people who were potentially jumbo or high balance buyers are now considered conforming buyers. So we're going to get a bigger pool, and just kind of makes you sound a little bit more knowledgeable about just the whole industry, the mortgage side, and just how that plays into your listings. So I think that's a pretty huge key thing to work on, kind of implementing into what you're talking about. Another thing I wanted to add, just kind of going back to the changing of the smoke detector thing, and I know this because I was out in California for a long time. That's huge. And I mean in the sense of slowing down your deals, because what happens often is the appraisal will go out there, he'll appraise the property, he'll see there's no smoke detector, and because of that, they'll have to send him out a second time. And if anybody knows, the appraisal can be the number one thing that slows everything down. So not having to come out a second time, then often appraisals will charge another 125, 150. It's kind of at their discretion how much they're charging for that second trip. That can be problematic. So I always kind of advise people, again, whether you're the buyer or the listing agent, keep some smoke detectors in your trunk, just in case you go through the house, you're looking through it during the inspection, you see they don't have any, and you can kind of quickly throw up a couple just to make sure that they're in compliance, so you don't have to have that appraisal report come back out there twice. That's really it. I think that's a minute.
Yeah, good enough. Awesome. Thank you. And don't forget, this afternoon at 1, Matt will be having a mortgage learning session. So if you've got burning questions about the industry, jump on that call. All right, Andrea, you're up. Time to talk about marketing.
Woo! Good
I want
morning.
her to introduce her team too, just so that,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, we talk about that, but I don't know that everybody kind of knows how we've built the marketing team. So
Yes. So we are very excited to have Vicki Lewis in Shepherdstown. She is doing a lot of the marketing stuff, a lot of listing stuff currently. And Zach Dern, who is an agent, he has also accepted a marketing position in Harrisonburg. So he has been really instrumental in helping us get some of, be a little quicker on getting some of this stuff out to you all. Both of them are really detail oriented. So we are really excited to be able to provide more services to you all, be it listing or marketing or social media things, all that type of stuff. So,
and then Brooke and Tyler, right?
and oh, of course, yeah. Sorry, I get lost in the quad state. Yeah, and then Brooke Kelly is in Pennsylvania. She's been working with them for a long time, so she works on all their social media and does a great job. Their print advertising, things like that. And then Tyler Smiley, he is in Delaware, and he also does print advertising. He does a little bit of everything, I think, print advertising, some onboarding for them, a bunch of different stuff. So, yeah. So, and with the help of all those folks, we stay very busy and hopefully get a bunch of stuff out to you guys. But yeah, so that's kind of the team. So when we talk about the marketing department growing, we do have we've got a lot more horsepower, to use Stephen's term. So that's all really exciting. Also very exciting, Stephen had talked about Marketing 360. I just wanted to share a couple of numbers from last week. This isn't a month. This is last week, just some numbers with you all. So to our website, impressions last week, that was 9,231. That is the number from last week. The actual visits and things like that, that was to a specific web page, not just the website, but like to the actual contact page. That was 1,265. So again, those are, again, even if they didn't fill it out, they were thinking about it, or maybe they just needed to grab the phone number. It speaks volumes to desk duty and things like that. If they're calling in, they're looking for the information, you want to be the person that's there. So we're doing a lot of work with that stuff, doing a lot of advertising to help you all and to kind of, with brand awareness and things like that. So 9,231 is a lot, as far as, that is what we used to do
In a month.
Yeah, that was a month. So
That's
that
what
is,
we used to do in a month.
yeah, so that is weekly, just so you know. I looked at that and I just thought I would share that with you guys because those numbers excite me. But anyway, other things that excite me are Moxie websites. Each of you has a Moxie website. And as you know, we've kind of been going through and contacting each of you individually. It's not a gimme. No one's born knowing how to set these websites up. So we're doing it on your behalf so it doesn't get broken. It's one of those things, all you have to do is allow access, and Zach and Vicki have been working with me to reach out to you all via email and phone calls, just to remind you that email is out there. And all you have to do is click a button, sign into your mycbdesk.com website, and you can allow me access, and then I'll do the rest. So that is one of those things that it can be broken, just so you know, and has been. So, if you've got any questions, just really, I love doing it. I don't mind doing it for you. So that's kind of the best way to do it. We also, in addition to all of that stuff, if you have a vanity domain, that's something that I'll need to know too. And again, it's not super easy to do that. They give you instructions. There's a specific order it needs to be done. I do not mind. I love doing it. So please let me do that for you. It'll save us all a lot of time in the end. I'm trying to think. I thought I saw somebody with a question that popped up.
Minnie had a question about blogs.
Let's see. So yes, you do set up blogs and things like that. That reminds me, on September 27th, that will be the first time that we have a training for the websites. So at that point, I will walk you through how to make some simple changes, how to add your blog, how to add posts and things like that. So bring all those questions, and you're welcome to send me those in the meantime. I'm happy to help you. But again, we will have the first of those trainings, and then we'll have a bunch, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a lot as we go forward. So it's one of my favorite things, and I love sharing that info with you guys. So the 27th is the first of those trainings. Did I miss any other questions from anybody? I don't think so.
Agent video bios, can they be added to the site? Sheila's asking. Yes,
there is the ability to add video to everyone's website. And again, that's a very advanced question, Sheila. So, I can definitely explain how to do that. Moxie's got some great tutorials, but I will also touch on that in the training on the 27th as well. Because that is one thing that everybody should be thinking about is video, because that's big in marketing right now. Any other questions about that so far?
Not so far.
Okay, great. Then also the training site. Don't forget, while we are ramping up and getting everything ready for business building and things like that, our training library is available at training.premiermove.com. And there are all kinds of subjects in there, ways to build your business, things about managing time, not just the trainings that we do. So it's a great resource. I don't know a bunch of other folks who have their own personalized training library. So that is something that we've provided for you. If for some reason you don't have a login and can't log in, please just send me an email. I would love to help you get in there. It's an awesome resource. Also, don't forget, there's also CBU, Caldwell Banker University. It's cbu.com. They have a lot of self-paced stuff as well for business building, for fiscal planning, things like that. So that's something you might want to keep in mind. Let's see. Oh, also the training calendar, for all of these trainings that we have coming up, we do have a training calendar, and that is trainingcalendar.premiermove.com. And I'll send an email out after this with my info, because usually it's a lot of links and things. So trainingcalendar.premiermove.com has the month's training on it. So we update that, so by this time, or, sometime this week, we should have most of October on there. So that's just somewhere where you can go, take some of our amazing classes, take advantage of some of the info that our agents share with you all. And I know there's a business planning also on the 27th that Sheila is doing this month. So that's something to keep in mind. What else did I have? MarketQuest. So MarketQuest also has a how-to video available. MarketQuest, in case you don't know, is basically somewhere where you can share market snapshots, like a monthly view of things in the real estate market, stats. It's something where you can go in and select what you would like to share. There's market trends. You can do reports by zip code or by town or by, subdivision. And again, the way that I see people using this is, oh, perfect. The way I see people using this is, if your business is based in a specific area, this really does kind of put you in front of other folks. You know what's going on in that area. So this makes you the expert in that area. And it just, again, the data speaks for itself, and again, it just helps you put your best foot forward. And in my opinion, I think it looks awesome.
And you can get super granular, right? So I can do neighborhoods, and we can also go down to, in Delaware, I apologize, townships. Is that what you call
the
them?
100s or whatever
The
they're
100s
called?
or whatever you call that. So you can do it down into those segments, even if you want to. So good data. So
and there's other things, there's like things you can do, number one claims, like West Virginia, #1 brokerage in West Virginia, those types of things. And it'll pull that data for you. So again, it's a really cool tool. We do have a video available, and I will share that link also in an email after this meeting. Also exciting. Oh, MarketQuest is on mycbdesk.com. And I'll send that link to where you can access that directly. It's marketquest.realogy.com. So I'll send it.
And we have it hooked up to all of our MLSs except for Allegheny Highlands. I'm still waiting on the feed from the association. We've been working with them. Melinda and Cheryl have been working with them, trying to get it turned on. With the Flex changeover, it just slowed everything down. But it's Bright, Rain, Charlottesville, the main MLSs that we cover all have MarketQuest access. As soon as I get Allegheny Highlands turned on, we will be able to you'll be able to access that up in Central PA as well.
Right.
Awesome.
And then, not last but not least, of course, the company store, or as we call it, the Pro Shop. It has finally launched. We've had a couple bugs just with pricing and supply chain issues and things like that. Those have now been worked out. So there are sizes. I'm thinking of Bruce Minter right now. There are sizes for shirts and things like that. Those are finally in the description. So you don't just have to order an extra large and that's all you get, because I think that's the way it was before. And so for the Pro Shop, it is an exclusive invitation only store. So I will be sending out invitations to everyone today with the help of the marketing team. So that is an email that is generated from the Pro Shop. And so you're going to have to take a peek. I think it has ended up in a couple people's junk mailboxes. So we will actually be sending an email out to let you know that it's coming, so that you get our email, so you know to be on the lookout. And so Zach and Vicky are helping me with that, and that will be today. So everyone be on the lookout for that. But again, if you don't know, the Pro Shop is a place where you can order business cards, signs, stationery, gifts for your clients, directional signs, hats,
lots of swag,
all kinds of swags.
And we have it for commercial and for global luxury as well as
and
property
property
management.
Yeah. So not in addition to just the residential. Brenda, they don't have license plates, unfortunately, but I did find a vendor, just not with the Pro Shop. So I can get with you on that. But
so once you get your invitation and you set up your account, make sure that you bookmark it. As Andrew said, it's an invitation only thing. So it's not, you can just, Google it and try to find it. You have to have the invitation to get in. But it's really, everyone will have their own account. So you can go in and get things personalized, and it's pretty cool.
Right. And if you need, again, they have other things that you can, if you know that you've got something coming up, or you always go through, 100 stadium cups, every month or something like that, you can set it to order automatically. It'll ship automatically, and it's your information. It's safe with your credit card information and everything else. So it is your personal info, but I can definitely help you if you want me to access it. I do have admin rights, but you do have to sign in yourself and do a password and all that kind of thing. So and don't forget, it has free shipping after $50 and special pricing. So I think that's all I've got. But yeah,
I think
thanks everybody.
Thank you, Andrea, and marketing team. So, Steve, get your crystal ball and tell us what's going to happen for the next few months.
So it's basketball. How do you like that, right? So how many people feel like the market's changed? Do I get a yes, right? Everybody's saying yes. They have. It's a little different in each market, but it has changed. There's been a drop in business, and that means units, so less deals being done. But the overall sales price has not changed much at all, and I don't anticipate that's going to change likely. So we're still pretty steady, Eddie. We're doing pretty well with the actual attraction of additional talent and some of the marketing we're doing. I don't feel like we're letting off the gas as much as some of the other companies in the regions that we're talking to. some agents we're talking to, and Teresa's kind of been a part of this too, is I get the very much sense there's some scaredness out there with that from other companies and other agents. I don't feel that way. I think our diversity is going to be very good as far as geographically, right? So we have a lot of different types markets in our company now. I think that's been a big help to us, actually, and different verticals of income. We talked about property management and mortgage and some other things, so that's been very attractive. I do anticipate you're going to get kind of like a full court press here at the end of the year. All these people that's been sitting on the fence, I anticipate that they're going to probably push through before the holidays and say, you know what, before the interest rates go up or before something happens or whatever, we're probably going to go ahead and push forward. So we'll see probably a good bit of activity between now and the end of the year. The wintertime might get a little interesting. Don't know exactly how that's going to play yet, but I think you'll push between now and the year have a pretty good finishing quarter. We'll probably finish fairly strong on that. So open for discussions on what people may have concerns about. Everybody talked about that thing called interest rates. Success has been pretty consistent about it staying pretty standard of what you got. I don't think it's impossible that they're going to continue to raise rates. They're going to have to. So if I was a consumer looking to buy and I was worried about, the affordability of a house, to be honest, I would go ahead and make my decision now. I think one of the words out there, they talk about, marrying the house and dating the interest rate, right? So you can refinance later, but you get the house you want today. I don't anticipate, on most parts, the housing prices to drop. You will see some short sales and some things like that. That will primarily be because if they have a default was short sale foreclosure, it's probably going to be because of life events. Somebody's passed, somebody got divorced, something's happened to make them want to make that move, and they bought in a very short period prior to now, over the last maybe 24 months. And it's put them in a situation where they've either overpaid or overextended themselves on the pay to buy the house. So that is likely what I see. So there's my crystal ball. It may be blurry. I don't know. We'll see if we get it right, but I think that's pretty accurate to probably what's going to happen out there. Question.
Anybody disagree? Anybody have a different opinion, or love to have a chat about it? We want everyone to feel comfortable with things moving forward.
All right, so let's take this a step further. As we're listing, they're taking a few more days on the market. Yes, means you need to have better conversations with your sellers. So you need to set them up for the idea that, hey, we may have to do a price reduction, or hey, it may take more than 3 weeks to sell your house. You need to have those conversations up front when you're listing. You need to work with a mortgage partner, whoever that may be, hopefully Success, to help you get good structured situations to make the loans work. That's going to become important. They're going to be paying closing costs for the buyers at this point. So those type of deals are going to be, more aggressive and more common in what we're doing. I saw a comment come up about appraisals. We have had a few random appraisals that's been odd. I know that Kathy actually just had one. It was like $90,000 less on a $400,000 house. It's just crazy. Although it's a unique property because it was a log home. So that's a little issue. Overall, I don't think I've seen that yet. I might see that a little bit closer to the end of the year. If you think about it, they're looking back 6 months, so they can still find adequate comps if needed. But give it another 3 or 4 months worth of inventory to go through where stuff's kind of settled out a little bit. You might start getting a little bit of wonky appraisals. I don't anticipate anything too dramatic. Oh, good point, Jessica. This is awesome. This will be more and more accurate for those that are not familiar with it. Great point, Jessica. Assumptions. So, you've got these people that have got really, really attractive interest rates, and they're going to put their house in the market. It may be a situation where it's much more attractive to sell that house and assume the rate of the current loan as opposed to getting a new loan. Now, for the basic general statement of here, they still have to qualify for the terms of the loan. They have to qualify just like they would for a normal loan. But they may have the option to assume that loan, and it may be more attractive as a rate. That would be something that you need to work. I'm going to get to you, Robin. I'm teeing you up right now. Give me a second here.
I'd like to say one
both
thing.
Matt and Robin are sitting forward in the chair going, let me get in.
I'd like to add in one thing as well that I got from the veteran when you're ready.
Okay. Actually, Jessica, why don't you go first, because think I know where they're going to go on this, so I'll lead you with that.
Okay, so I talked to a local attorney, Bill and I did last week, about the process, because I've never done one in 18 years and it's been years for Bill. And when I was talking to Brett Thompson, he had mentioned something about, so he told us about the whole process, but something that the veteran who is selling the home may be responsible for some kind of penalty, blah, blah, blah. So I actually had my seller call the VA, and she texted me last night in capital letters, and she said, we will need a release of liability and a assumption with substitution of entitlement.
Yep.
So that is 100% foreign language to me, and I don't know, and I'll have to check with them, and you may have the answers for this, is does that come from the closing attorney? Does that come from the bank who's holding the note? So I'm still foreign a little bit to this process. I feel like I'm like 75% there.
Okay, so there's a lot more pieces to this, actually. So Robert or Matt, I don't know who wants this one. Do you want, or do you want me to go?
I'll just say that assumptions, the thing that you have to remember is exactly what you just said, Jessica. They do have to qualify for the loan to do an assumption of the VA, of the loan that is currently in existence. However, it does not release the initial veteran of any default or liability should the new person default, right? So then that affects their VA eligibility, right? And so a lot of times with the assumptions, it doesn't, so, and then that veteran, a portion of that veteran's eligibility is being used. So they only get so much. So for them to be able to go buy another house, they would have to stay within their eligibility or pay above whatever the eligibility does not cover. So that's why.
Or use a different loan product type, right?
Pardon?
Or use a different loan product type.
Or use a different loan product. So what they're asking, the veteran's saying, yeah, you can assume it, but I want to be released of all liability, which is something that they typically hold on to as long as their VA eligibility is being used. And it also prevents them from having full eligibility to go buy another house. So I think the eligibility part is going to be released by the VA. The liability part is probably going to have to come from the lender. So that's why everybody talks about assumptions, but nobody really wants to do them once they figure out that they're still responsible. Even though you buy my house and assume my loan, if you default, I'm still responsible. It still affects my VA eligibility. It still affects me being able to get another house using my VA eligibility. So then when they find that out, they say, no, I'm out because I need to move on. I like you a lot, but I don't know that you're going to pay your bills for the next 30 years. And if you don't, my eligibility suffers for that. So that's
why they never get their entitlement back.
Pardon?
They never get the entitlement back until the loan is paid off. What if so I sell this house, it closes in 30 days, the new buyer assumes the loan, and then the new buyer decides they're going to sell it in 2 years just on a regular market with no VA assumption, then what?
Well, then that eligibility is restored to the original.
Oh.
Once the loan is paid in full, the eligibility credits to the
right. And if you have a veteran who has this house, he took out $250,000 to buy this house. Well, he only really has about $220,000 to move forward to buy another house, because as long as that initial eligibility is being utilized for the next 2 years or 15 years or however long until that loan is paid, that veteran does not recoup their eligibility, which is why it sounds really great, but a lot of people don't go forward with it because they don't want their eligibility tied up.
I guess I'm confused to where she says, because it was a specific question when I said, call the VA and find out, will you be responsible for new borrower or defaults? And I guess the language that they use that I don't understand is we will need a release of liability.
Yeah, they're saying, yes, you're going to be responsible unless you get a release of liability.
So what is a release of liability? Is that a document?
That comes from the lender. The lender has to release the current veteran from any liability down the road on any fault on the new purchaser. I'm going to tell you 9 out of 10 times they do not give it.
I was going to say,
Okay.
why the lender would sign that, because that wouldn't be in the lender's best interest.
No, it wouldn't. And they typically do not sign it.
Okay, let's get through some of the questions here. Sarah, you had a question? You have your hand up, yes? Maybe not?
Well,
All right.
Okay, go
It's
ahead.
in the chat.
So there's a couple,
What happens when the
couple
new buyer files bankruptcy?
That still flows down to the original veteran. They are still liable. It can still show as a bankruptcy on their credit. Even though they themselves did not file, bankruptcy was filed on that loan or on that veteran.
So then
Okay.
these may have been answered, but in the chat, Nicole has a couple questions. How does it work if the sale price is higher than the remaining balance? And can they assume any loan type or just VA? And does the buyer have to be a vet to assume the
So-
VA loan?
answer the first one with the sale price, Robin, first.
Yeah.
Okay, how does it work if the sales price is higher than the remaining mortgage?
Correct. So they have to pay the difference.
Typically, they would pay the difference if the purchaser, well, no, they would typically have to pay the difference.
So like
They have to
cash.
pay the
So if it was $200,000 mortgage balance and they sold it for $250,000, they'd have to come with $50,000 in cash.
That's correct.
Yes. Now, some I have seen in the past, I have not seen it currently, but in the past, if the new buyer is a veteran, they could use a portion of the new buyer's eligibility, but they have not been doing that recently. That was back in the day. So I'm not really sure if they're back to that or not.
And then does the buyer have to be a vet as well, or can a non-vet assume a VA loan?
A non-vet can assume the VA loan.
And then Joanne wants to know if they default, I'm assuming, does it affect the credit score or just the entitlement?
It affects the entitlement.
Okay. So it's not on their credit. It's not going to damage their credit. They just can't use any of their VA entitlements until the loan's paid.
That's correct. But understand, like the bankruptcy question, it's going to show that assumed mortgage was bankrupted on. And even though it wasn't bankrupted on by the initial veteran, they are assuming the original loan. So that bankruptcy then ties to that original veteran, even though they themselves could have perfect credit, it's still going to show as a bankruptcy on that mortgage because they're not getting a new loan. They are assuming the loan that was originated. So it's going to show up on the original veteran as well.
And is that true for like foreclosures and other forms of default?
Absolutely,
But-
which is why people don't do assumptions.
And
As soon as they
mispayments
find
as
that
well?
stuff out, they
Like
are
if-
doing.
If they
Okay,
got 2
let's-
or 3 months behind, would it damage their credit?
Again, it's going to be on the original mortgage, so it may not show up because it's not going to show as a paid loan on their credit. So it is very possible that those late payments could then reflect on the current veteran, or if it doesn't show on the front end of the bureau, on the back end of the bureau, it will show. So, for
That's
example, if we pull credit and we see everything that's perfect, we try to run it through LP or DU. They're going to say there's late payments on the mortgage, or there's a foreclosure on the mortgage, or a bankruptcy. We may not see that on the front side. We have to go into the back of the credit report to find out why it's targeting or why it's flagging it for these certain things, and that's when we find out.
All right, Robin, let me keep you moving here for a few things, okay? So, not all loans, a lot of loans are assumable, but not without qualification. So not only VAs, there are some other ones. A lot of lenders will do when you sign a note, whether that loan is assumable or not, right? When you sign the original note. So there are some other ones that are assumable. You still need to qualify. If there is a difference between what your purchase price is and what the current loan value is of the loan that you're assuming, you would be required to create the deficit in yourself. You have to pay for it somehow.
And
You
the way
probably-
for them to find out if it's assumable is to look at the deed of trust.
That's right.
the deed of trust will tell you whether the loan is assumable or not.
And if there's a deficit between the purchase price and the loan amount, the only way you can get another loan for that is a personal loan outside of the property, or a second loan that somebody would be willing to take a second position on. That is fairly unlikely in most cases. So if you get to this case, managers or me or Steven or whoever you're needing to talk to, make sure you just kind of engage us. These things become a little bit more interesting, for lack of better terms.
And I will tell you too that on government and conventional, like FHA and conventional, during the low interest rate, a lot of those deeds of trust are not assumable.
That's right. All right, so I think we covered down the line on a lot of these questions. But yes, that's going to come up, and that's going to be a marketing trick that some people are going to use for listings. You know, if you list with me, we'll be able to do a better job because we can sell your loan as an assumable. It'll be more attractive. List with me, I know how to do that. Now, the truth of the matter, it's kind of like all the other kind of murky things that they get out there with listings. It's not impossible for that to be a yes, but it's less likely to be able to be done than likely.
Well, I think when Robin was saying the release of the liability, to find a lender who's going to subordinate release that is probably slim and none, because here in Hampton Roads, 90% of our buyer pool is VA. So now, knowing what Robin just said, I feel like I have more questions here. If that's the case, I need to find for my seller and doing a job for my seller. Do I find a lender here who will do a release of liability so I can forward that to a buyer's agent? Because if I'm going to truly help my seller, I need to have that information, and I don't even know if that's possible.
And there's two pieces to this, guys. We're talking about the lender, and then we're talking about the VA benefit. So there's two pieces. So you could get released from liability, but the liability, the veterans benefit, eligibility benefit will still be intact. So it's 400 some odd thousand. I don't remember what it is right now, what a total benefit is.
Yeah.
A veteran can use all of that in one purchase or in two purchases in some combination. So
or three if they're savvy. If they get $150,000 house.
I guess three if they're savvy. So you could get a release from the lender if that happened, but it still ties up part of their eligibility to purchase another property, or, you know, just to kind of make that out. There's more moving parts in this. So
until that mortgage is satisfied.
Until which the mortgage is satisfied. Once it's satisfied, everything returns back to what would be a normal sale like you would ever have.
And your seller has to contact their mortgage company and ask them if they'll give them that document.
Correct. I did that part.
All right, guys. Quickly, any more questions on this? I don't want to belabor this one, but it is definitely a moving part that people will use to solicit new listings.
Yeah, and this goes back to what I had said earlier about like Matt having these classes. This is the kind of stuff that's going to start popping up more now that the market's shifting back to a little normal state. You know, you're going to see the resurgence of certain programs that you haven't necessarily seen in the last 4 or 5 years or more. They may be completely foreign to a lot of us. So it's good to kind of keep informed on that type of thing.
I just want to say thank you very much for all that conversation regarding that, because that impacts my business 95% of the time. So thank you.
Well, Matt, that may be a heads up for something that if you're going to do some of these lending classes, that might be a good in-depth topic that you guys can touch on.
We actually had that conversation about a week ago about having a class down in Virginia Beach specifically about assumable loans. So it's funny that came up.
And Adam's got a link here in I haven't clicked on it, but Adam's got a link here in the all the caps per county. He's got the VA eligibility caps. So yeah. Anything else on the market or conditions or, you know, like marketing stuff? Like I said, you're going to see some short sales. You're going to see some foreclosures. Not scary. We're way, way, way under the normal amount of default properties as it is. So it will normalize. People have default on properties, not because they're bad at paying their bills, but things happen. We have a divorce now. I no longer have 2 incomes. Somebody passes. I no longer have 2 incomes. That's what makes things happen like that. So not just, you know, I've lost my job. So, okay. Steven, you're up then.
So any new designations or certifications?
Where's
since
Craig at?
last-
Craig got an awesome one.
Yeah, Craig, are you on?
He was CRS.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome. For those of you, that is the certified residential specialist that is hailed as the #1 residential designation. So congrats to Craig for that. I guess he was bored one day and decided to finally get it. Anybody else? Any I think we had a couple in Delaware. Like, was it Sarah and Melissa got a couple? Some designation I saw.
They were working towards the next section of their CCIM, I think, right?
Yeah, so Melissa and I are both working on our CCIM. It's a little difficult out here just because the purchase price of commercial properties aren't as high as the metro area, but we're working on it. And yeah, we did just get our CRS, or I'm sorry, our SRSs and our ABRs.
Awesome. Congratulations, guys.
All right. Anybody else? All right. So, any general questions, comments, or concerns? We are here to listen. Oh, I think they're going to be easy on us today, Steve.
I think they're exhausted after the VA one. We're like, okay, I just gotta keep, my brain is mush. I don't want to learn anymore.
Well, thank you, everyone. Don't forget, we are going to have a quick chat with our friends in PA here at the end. Andrea and Brooke, if you guys can stay on, that would be awesome. The rest of you have an awesome day, and thanks for coming.
Bye.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.